faster in the singing, kind of dragged it a little bit. Yeah, let's pray. Heavenly Father, we give you praise and honor this morning. As we study together this morning, may you guide us. We give you glory and honor. In Jesus' name I pray.
Maud Sisley Boyd was the woman missionary sent by the Seventh-day Adventist Church's Foreign Mission Board. Maud Sisley was born in 1851 in Kent, England. After her father died, her family went to the United States, where they learned about the Adventist message. A visit by James and Ellen White convinced them to relocate to church headquarters at Battle Creek, Michigan. Maud was an Adventist member for 10 years when she was called to serve as a missionary. In 1877, she left for Europe, where she eventually served in Switzerland and England. After several years in Europe, Maud returned to the United States in time to attend the second annual session of the General Sabbath School Association held in Battle Creek, Michigan. Here she had another participant, the widower Charles L. Boyd. The couple wed in 1879 and had 2 daughters. The Boyds went as part of the first group of Adventist missionaries to Cape Town, South Africa. Tragically, their youngest daughter Ethel, aged 3 and a half, in Africa. The family remained in Africa for about 4 years before returning to the United States. They reached Battle Creek in time to attend the 1891 General Conference session. At this General Conference session, Charles was asked to become president of the Tennessee River Conference, located in Nashville, Tennessee. The Boyds were early workers in the American South, striving to break down racial barriers in response to Ellen White's call to do so. They created a church that allowed both black and white members to worship together. In 1898, she and Charles were in Asheville, North Carolina, when Charles died. After his death, Ellen White invited her family to Australia to assist with the newly formed Avondale School. Maud was highly respected as a teacher. She spent 9 years there. Daughter Ella went as a missionary to Tonga. When her sister fell ill, Maud returned to Massachusetts to be closer to her while continuing to conduct Bible work. During the last 17 years of her life, she served as a Bible teacher at the Loma and Glendale Sanitariums in California. She spent 1 school year teaching at Oakwood Junior College in Alabama. After her sister died, she returned to Australia to live with her daughter Ella. Here, she died in 1937 and was buried next to her mother in the Avondale Adventist Cemetery in Cornwall, New South Wales. Maud Sisley Boyd spent her life in service to others, and her legacy lives on to this day. For more stories about pioneer missionaries, visit encyclopedia.adventist.org.
We are on lesson number 9, and it talks about the cosmic conflict. We are on lesson number 9, and I do have the microphone because some of our online viewers, sometimes they say our sound is not that good, so that's why I have this microphone, so that they can listen to, so that they can understand, because they complained the sounding system was not good a few weeks ago. So, we are on lesson number 9, the cosmic conflict. So what comes into your mind when you hear the conflict, cosmic conflict? The question.
I believe that Christ is the origin of evil with Christ and Satan. Yeah, that's just right.
Okay. You can say it again for my online audiences so that they can hear what that conflict is all about.
It was a fight between Christ and Satan.
Is
Controversy.
the great controversy. Okay. Joe, you had something to say.
Well, the same thing she said.
You say the same thing. Okay. So what does this conflict involve? Yeah, it's a conflict between Satan and Jesus Christ and our God. So what is behind it, because a conflict, we can talk about country conflict. Probably they are fighting for natural resources, minerals, rare earth. Those are the things they are fighting for. So what is this Satan is fighting for? What is all this conflict all about? You said it's a religious war? So can you expound on it?
The cosmic war and the religious war, worldwide nature of this spirit realm, ongoing clashes between God's kingdom and the demonic realm. Three types of power of God.
Okay. Who has a different view?
Between good and evil.
At least the fight we are having is between good and evil. So who is depicted to be good and who is depicted to be evil?
Which side are you asking?
Yeah.
If you ask Lucifer, he will say he's the good one. But we know it's actually evil.
Okay. Okay, already it's determined, of course. Yep. And we know the devil is trying to turn his evil to look good to us. So he's trying all means to entice us to join him on his evil deeds.
It's working.
And of course, he has laid on those, he has laid all those things which entices us.
He knows our weaknesses. We fall into it. Yep.
Say it.
He knows our weaknesses and we fall into them.
Okay? He knows our weaknesses and we fall onto those,
He makes things look really good.
He beautifies sin to look so attractive. Where did evil originate from?
Heaven.
Yeah? That's where the battle began.
That's not true. And I'd like to correct that. All things good were created. All things good were created in heaven. But it was in Lucifer's heart where evil began.
Is from Lucifer's heart all that evil began. But where was Lucifer at that moment? So am I wrong to say the great controversy began from heaven? Am I wrong to say that? So where did the controversy begin from? That's what I'm saying. Now, as we go through this week's lesson, there are quite a number of things that we will be able to go through and we will be able to see all those things, how the devil from that beginning has continued to oppose God. And we know he was thrown from heaven to the to the world. And the Bible tells us he deceived a third of the angels. If you go to Revelation chapter 12, verse number 3 and verse number 4, you will find that he drew a third of the stars from heaven. So, our memory text comes from Genesis chapter 3 and verse 15, which says, "I'll put an enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel." Who is talking about that? Let's go a little bit of our memory text. "And I'll put an enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel." So who is talking here? Let's get the context. What is going on when you had verse in Genesis 3:15?
It is God condemning the devil because of what he did in the Garden of Eden.
Yep.
It is God condemning the devil because of what he did in the Garden of Eden. And you will notice in this memory text that the first seed begins with small s. The second seed and her seed is capital S, referring to Christ. And so if Christ bruises the head of the seed of the devil, then that means that's a death sentence.
Okay.
However, if your heel is bruised, then that means that it is like a splinter in your skin all the time. It will be something that we will have to contend with, but it will not kill us.
Okay. Now, I want us to go to Matthew chapter 13. Matthew chapter 13, beginning from verse 24. Matthew chapter 13, beginning from verse 24. Okay, I want someone to read. Continue reading. Just read from 24.
Another parable put forth unto them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed into his field. But while men slept, his enemies came and sowed tares among the wheat, and went his way. When the blades were sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the household said unto him, Sir, did not thou sow the seed in thy field? Or what then hath it here? And he said unto them, An enemy has done this. The servant said unto him, Will thou bend that people and gather up? But he said, Nay, lest while you gather up the tares, you root up also the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest, and in the time of harvest I will say to the reapers, gather ye together the tares, bind them in a bundle to burn them, but gather the wheat unto my barn. Another parable put forth to them, saying,
I want you to jump to verse number 36. Yes.
And then Jesus sent also away and went into his house, and the disciples came unto him, saying, Declare unto the parable of the head of the field. He answered and said unto them, He that sowed the good seed is the Son of Man. The field of this world seed are children of the kingdom, but tares are the children of the wicked. Then the enemy that that so then is the devil and the harvester at the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. As therefore the tares are gathered and turned into the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world. The Son of
You,
Man shall set forth his
you can
angels.
stop there. Okay, we're good. Now, that is the parables that Jesus used. What is happening here? There is something that is going on. Jesus is talking in parables. What is going on here? That's dialogue. What we have read. That's why the only way we go through. What is going on?
Made it simple in the language that they understood, that they knew about sowing and reaping and
Okay. You see now, let's go. This person has planted wheat. So when you plant wheat, what do you expect? Wheat. Okay? What happened? This guy planted wheat. So weeds. So who brought the weeds?
enemy.
The enemy. When the man was asleep, okay? The enemy planted what? But while man asleep, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way.
But you know, Samson, that tells me
Okay.
the seed of the tares were already in the ground.
Okay.
So that's the evilness of this world,
Okay.
right in the ground.
Okay. So the evilness is on the ground. Now,
I have a question. Your gene study, do tares look like wheat?
of course, they.
In the beginning.
Sorry, I just was wondering if tares look like wheat. I thought maybe years ago I heard that they're kind of the same, but don't.
They look like they look like it when they are first sprouted, but as they sprout, one turns into the wheat and the other turns into the tares. So they can't pull out the little wee sprouts because they love all the good ones. There you go.
Okay.
Okay.
I could have said it in my language, but I don't want to say it. It's the one actually which doesn't bear, it bears nothing. Yeah.
I may be wrong, but when I read this parable, and the sower, which is God, which planted good seed, which means that, the crop that comes up, it's going to be, wheat, or whatever the good seed is, or grain is. To me, that sounds like when he's talking about, he plants a good heart in a person, and then whatever's up, it's either going to be a person that loves God or a person that goes against God. And the devil is the one that plants the evilness or the bad seed in a person's heart. So when the two people come up, God said, don't tear the tares up, the seed, they'll grow together. And then at the harvest, then they'll be separated. So to me, it represents what God wants us to be, what he wanted us to be. Planted the good seed. And the devil came by, or Satan, and he plants the bad seed. And the seed represents a person to me, is what you believe in and what your heart is. You can either choose to be good or you can choose to be evil. And when you sprout, that's actually a person, a human that's full grown. Now you either have a corrupt heart or you have one that honors God. But the difference with crops, they don't really have, and like I said, it's a parable, so it's using crops to represent people.
And like I said, if people do have a free will, you can either choose to follow God or not. So, but the bad seed is planted into you. You can either choose to accept it or discard it. See what I'm saying? Because the devil's always trying to plant evil in your heart.
Okay.
Genesis 3:15, he says, I will put enmity, meaning hostility, hatred, between thee, Satan, and woman, God's people, and between the seed wicked and her seed righteous. And it shall bruise thy head, Satan will destroy thee, thou shalt bruise his heel. Jesus will die on the cross, but rose a victor.
Okay. Now, we have seen that. But you see now, this farmer, when the servant told him, okay, your wheat sprouted, but we have the tares. So can we go and uproot those, weeds or the tares? But he told them, no, wait until the harvesting time so that we can be able to what? To uproot the weeds. Can you see something interesting there in Christian journey? Because you see, why was Jesus telling them, okay, you cannot go and uproot it? You cannot go and kill it, those weeds. Okay, why? Why do you think? Yeah, it's a story we are reading. The harvest. Why is it Jesus saying you can't do it? We have to wait until the harvest. At the end.
This is an attack on God's character. He has to allow time so sin comes to fruition and it proves that he's right and the other is wrong.
I tend to think so because you see, it's a parable, but it represents of evil and good. And you see, God can destroy the devil just immediately. God could have destroyed him, but that could also have reflected bad on God because His love. So that would have reflected God to be intolerant, But God still is telling the devil. He has all the power to just within a second to clear him. But that is not the reflection of God. Even when people are being persecuted, God is still there. God is still feeling all those things. But there will be a time that will come that God will put the end to all those things. Now, this parable, no, you can't get the weeds. Wait until the harvest is ready. So that I will be able to now what? Destroy. The same way in our Christian journey, the harvest. What is the harvest? The second coming, that's the harvest. So God will come to collect those who have remained faithful to God. And those who have remained unfaithful, they will face the consequences. Okay? So,
One of the things is that about the sermon and parable is don't look at the tares because you could pull up the wheat.
okay?
You know what I mean? You can kind of look at, because he's talking about people, not so much wheat and tares, but he's talking about the difference. And the difference with people is you can have an evil person and they can change their heart, confess their sin, and come to God. In other words, when you start out as a tare, if you meet Jesus Christ, you can turn into wheat. That's another thought, that maybe wait till the harvest.
Okay?
You know,
And you can see the patience. You can also reflect the patience of God. You know.
We see a lot of that in our prison system,
Mhm.
where they go into jail because they've done, something they shouldn't have done. And then while they are in prison, they turn their hearts over to God. So that's a very wise attitude.
Okay. Now, God created everything, and everything was perfect. If you go to Genesis chapter 1, verse number 31, God created everything was good, and He declared that everything was good. If you go to Genesis chapter 1 and verse number 31, God says, God saw everything that He had made, and indeed it was very good. So there was evening and there was morning, a sixth day of the week. So everything was good. So how evil came? God created everything and everything was good.
Because he gave everyone free will.
Okay?
but you can't say that, because free will doesn't mean it's evil. Free will itself does not create evil within it. It's something else that has to spark that.
That is the discussion I want.
There's definitely something else that has to spark that free will.
Okay?
God gave free will as a good thing.
Selfish.
Okay? It's the awesome thing that God gave man and those beings He created free will to die. Okay?
Otherwise, we need robots.
Okay?
Well, there's in the Bible that God created all the angels. He also created Lucifer, which was the greatest of angels of all.
Okay?
So what made Lucifer and the Satan is the fact that the Bible says that pride overtook him.
Pride.
God gives us a lot, God gives us everything that is good.
Okay?
It's not bad to want to succeed, work and succeed. Okay, but then the devil says that, hey, yeah, God said it's not bad if you succeed in life. He says, hey, if your brother is too foolish or dumb, then God has to take advantage of him. He's not smart enough to know that, hey. So he takes something that's good and turns it into, turns it into something that's not good. You're saying, this is good, but the way to get to that goodness, you have to do some things that are not very good. And that's kind of what the devil says. All of a sudden, he wasn't happy. Pride says, I'm not happy being the number one angel. I want to be God. I want to be God, period. So he can't be a God, so he has to convince the other angels that God is not just, he's not right. He's holding something from you. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden they start thinking about it, and the more they think about it, the bigger the lies get. And all of a sudden they started believing it. And they rebel. Yeah. And kind of that's the way he works with every one of us. You know what I mean? God created sex. Sex is supposed to be good. Then all of a sudden their mind is, yeah, it's good. So what the heck, might as well just try seeds or something. You know what I'm saying? And that's what the devil is. He works on something that's good and turns it into something really, really not good. It's bad for you,
Okay?
And that's the toughest part. I get to wonder, Lucifer and his angels were in heaven. Things didn't die, things are, we try to be in the perfect place. Everything's nice and good and all that. And he wind up, like I said, taking something good and consuming himself and becoming evil. And then we're down here on earth, which earth is not heaven. We know it's corrupt, it's evil. You know, you gotta call, you gotta be on guard. If you have any kind of money that people are trying to take it away, or they're trying to do some scam or something, you know what I'm saying? So we know this is not a perfect place. So I think it's a little tougher for us, for you and I, to try to be good, I don't know how you would have not tried, but to actually, you know, shoot to be good, so, and accept Jesus' sacrifice, for our penalty of sin.
Mhm.
But you're still in the world, you still have to make decisions, you know? And
Yeah.
it's gonna be tougher for us, because we don't know what heaven's like. But the angels know what heaven's like. So, when you think about that, you wonder, hey, no wonder they're trying to, kill basically, they're trying to get you to do evil. Because they were there, they knew what it was. We don't. We can only imagine.
Okay.
So you can see why they're angry with us, when everybody tries to follow Jesus.
If you go to Genesis chapter 2, and it's good to talk because it's so you see Genesis chapter 2, you see in chapter 9, Genesis chapter 2, verse 9, God, it talks about out of the ground, God, Adonai God was to grow every tree pleasing in appearance and good for food, including the tree of life in the middle of the garden and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Now, if you go down to verse chapter 2, and then you go to verse um, verse number 16. Then Adonai God gave the person this order: you may freely eat from every tree in the garden. And verse number 17, except the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. You are not to eat it, because on the day that you eat from it, it will become certain that you will die. And they surely died, as Laura said. You see, God had given this instruction, the tree of life and the tree of good and knowledge. But he said, if you touch this tree, from the day you shall eat from this, you shall surely die. There were so many trees.
Now, knew what death was at that time. I want you all to think about that. Even Lucifer did not know what.
Yeah, because of their own.
Right? You put yourself in that. First of all, Lucifer didn't say, "Oh, I want to be God," and then God kicked him out. It took time. Even in heaven, it took time. And so now he says, "You will surely die." Nobody knew what that meant. And so when Lucifer, that's to me, it's like, you're not going to die because he didn't die. They don't know what that means. You know what I mean? Right? So this shows you the patience and the timing and just more about it, right?
Yeah, I'm seeing this because God had told Adam and Eve, you can eat everything except this from this one. From the day you will touch this one, you will surely die. And now the devil is coming in chapter 3 and now raising these questions. God is lying to you. You will not die. If you eat from the tree, you will not die. You will just it will open you. You will be able to things in a clearer perspective. But you see,
He was absolutely right. They did see. As soon as they ate from it, they
yeah, but you see now, what was the motive behind the devil wanting them to eat from this tree? Okay? Disobedience. It was causing them to have disobedience to God. So the moment you have obeyed God, what is the end result? Death. Okay? So you can see the devil was putting doubt in the mind of Eve. No, how? No, you can't die. So you can't like he beautifies sin. Sin is good. No, you can't die. This is good for you.
I really believe that God will just tell them to truly die and not explain to them what death was. And they went into detail, they just could not comprehend it. But he did explain to them what death was.
Okay, in the lessons we'll learn why the tree was put there is rules of engagement with the devil. You will learn from John Peckham why he was there.
So it wasn't about man, it's about God. It's always been about God and Satan.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's like Job, Satan needed to prove his side too. Anyway,
So once the devil has created doubt in your mind, what next? Okay? I didn't hear what you said, Gary.
temptation,
Temptations.
great. And you go for it.
You go for temptations. Now, when you succumb to the temptations, okay?
Adam and Eve were created perfect, and they didn't have a clue what.
Well, I know, I'm not a good worker like this. Here,
Adam and Eve were created perfect. So they didn't know what doubt was, and they didn't know what temptation was. They didn't know what a lie was. So when Satan was talking to them, they thought he was telling the truth because they didn't know any better. And so when he told them God didn't really say that, and they're thinking, oh, huh. I'm sure they were thinking, well, what does he mean by that? And somebody said, told me that Satan took an apple and took a bite of it, but it's not biblical, so I don't know if that's true or not. But when when he was speaking to them, the devil was really speaking true things. He was saying that you're not, well, I shouldn't say it, that's not what I meant to say. What I'm trying to say is Satan twisted all the truths around. Everything that God had told him, Satan twisting it all and saying that you won't surely die. That's not really what God meant, that you're surely going to die. And you're like, what does he mean by that? I mean, I'm sure they really didn't understand what he was saying. They didn't know what that was. They didn't know what temptation was. They didn't know what any of that was. They were pure, created that way. And I don't know, a lot of people thought that maybe when he ate from that, they were going to die that day. That day.
Okay.
I believe that they did, but it just did not matter. And here's when I stand upon the knowledge of that, is that this is a God who has set everything in motion. Lucifer himself was a counterfeit. You take a counterfeit $100 bill with the rest of them, you don't know it's counterfeit. He was a counterfeit. He's telling pretty much this is what happened to Lucifer. He got kicked out of heaven because of the very thing that you got imagine. He wanted to be like God. He wanted to be greater than God. That's the sin. Greater than God. Because we talk about we want to be like Jesus.
Okay. Hold on that thought. I'm still learning, and maybe this, like, when the devil knew, Lucifer knew, if I make Eve to disobey God, I've already got her. I've recruited to my side. So he created doubt. So Eve started doubting God. And she made that decision now to partake what God had told them. The day you begin doing it, you will what? Surely. So now, when we talk about Lucifer, is the closest angel was next to God. Do you think he knew so much? Mhm.
Had no knowledge of a woman. There's never been a woman in heaven. All of a sudden, God creates a woman. He knew about man. He's going to go through the Somebody didn't know. It was a challenge for him at the same time. There was never the idea.
Now, the way the angels were created, I want to stretch your mind. Because you see, when God created man, he put what? On earth. Okay? And man had the license, he had the dominion for everything. Now, the devil, Lucifer, has been what? Thrown from heaven to the world. He can't operate in the world because demons cannot possess buildings. So they have to get something which is alive for them to go into those, for it to operate on earth. So that's why it chose the serpent to get the license to operate in the world. Now, when the serpents were created, they were beautiful beings. Are you seeing the point? So he had to, even the demons, which, the demon which were possessed, that man which was possessed with the demons, Jesus told them out of him, and then you saw how they went to the pigs and all that. Yeah. So you can be able to see, for Satan to operate in this world, he had to get something to go through, a medium to go through it. He can be able to what? To deceive. Are you seeing that? So, but you see now, Satan knew, the devil, Lucifer knew that if I this human, this is the weakest link, I could have got the man. Because Lucifer could not go direct to Adam and say, Adam, this fruit. Adam would have rejected it. But you see now, the woman, you see now, got the woman, and you see, all the story. And Satan or Lucifer wanted to reach to Adam, but he cannot face Adam directly. So he used the serpent, the wife, to reach Adam, to make Adam too. Because you see now, I don't want to, but you see, Adam was given the responsibility by God. And you see, that's why if Adam could have rejected it, it would be another different story altogether. But that's another subject for another day. If you read your scriptures.
So remember now, Eve is the seed of man.
Yep.
Adam is man.
Okay.
So he went after the
Okay. Yep. It's a catastrophe which affected, you know, if it's the case of Eve, God would have dealt in different, but now that's why the DNA of Adam is in us. He was the first Adam. That's why we had to get the second Adam to alter our DNA from our sinful life so that he can cleanse us, you know. And again, I like the way you brought it because the seed of Adam, you know. Now the controversy in heaven, gone.
Why did God put the tree of knowledge in the first place? To trap us or to learn?
That's the rules of engagement. You will learn this.
Those are the rules of engagement. And is an awesome God who doesn't force us to love him or reject him. That's the love of God. He doesn't want, okay, I want you to follow only this. God could have said, okay, he could have created all this, like, that's my imagination, my sanctified imagination. You said, all the trees you can eat, but this one, if you touch it, so in other words, our God is a God of freedom. You could have decided, okay, all these trees don't touch, you only eat from them. And Satan would have said, oh, God is a tyrant. But you can see, gave all the freedom to eat except only one.
But when you ask that question,
Mhm.
makes you right back to why did God cast Satan to cast him anywhere else? Why did he cast him? Which follows the same question that you just asked. Why do you have the tree in the middle of the garden? You start asking afterwards, why? You're gonna go
Sir.
around in circles. You know, often ask that question too. And I thought, that is unfair. Because Satan is an angel, and so is humble than us, and yet we're caught in this great conflict. But then, when you think about it from God's point of view, it's not that he had to have Satan basically his way, so to speak, so that he could show the other angels of the cosmic what actually his way would be compared to God's way. And unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever way you want to think about it, he created us to be part of this conflict. You know? And because we're part of the conflict, we have a free choice to either follow Satan or God.
Mhm.
And then he gave us, on top of that, he gave us a Redeemer,
Okay.
which is Jesus Christ. And he gave us a good shepherd, basically.
Okay.
We encounter what it would be like in ancient times when you talk about these people. Really, they didn't really know the character of God, so they their own God. And like I said, caught up in this cosmic war, and I think that's why God created us, so he could prove that, hey, you know what? My way is better. And you're gonna see what Satan's way is. You know what I'm saying? We're caught up in that.
And another thing is this. You see what God said, from the day you shall eat from this tree, you shall surely die. In fact, death would have just came the very time. But because of the grace of God, he had to demonstrate his love. You guys, you deserve to die. And like Adam was, we are naked now. They tried to take tree to get the clothes, but God gave them the tunic. You can see directly the story of redemption. Because an animal had to die for you to survive. Because Adam had to die instantly from that. But because of the mercy, because of the love of God, he postponed it so that he can be able to redeem us eventually by his precious son, Jesus Christ. That is the essence. You can be able to see that. Now, Why is the devil? Because you can be able to see how it goes. From heaven, did he appreciate the sonship of God?
Devil, no.
Because you can be able to see this conflict began from heaven, and you can see towards the temptation of Jesus. You are seeing the story. It's, when he wanted to be high on God himself. Okay? And of course, I dismiss some of these people. They talk about, like it's two independent powers having a conflict, but the scripture tells us, right? Because it tells us Lucifer was created by God. Because people, if you read some of the article, dualisms and all those things, which of course goes against the biblical principles, because Lucifer is a created being. Because if you read Ezekiel and Isaiah 14, Ezekiel 28, and it tells you, who Lucifer was. It was a cherubim who is seated next to God. He knew so much about God. But of course, what he knows right now is contaminated and it's pervasive because it's full of profanities. Because from that day, unrighteousness was discovered.
without fighting it, he gave himself up to die. And as he was lying there dying, he heard the moaning of a fellow traveler. Something inside him. Get up and fight. He got up and he walked through the snow and he found him. He had to rub his limbs, true story. And he realized he needed help. And so he picked him up in his arms. He started walking. He didn't know where he was going. He just kept walking. And about 20 minutes later, he saw a log cabin with smoke coming out of the chimney. And as he kicked him over with that man in his arms, it hit him that in saving his neighbor, he has saved himself. So thank you for what you do for others. You being a blessing, not only to others, but to yourself. And you're never alone, because God is with you. Listen. When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of a storm, in a golden sky, and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never
I like the way he sang Amazing Grace. Man, when he sang that song, it moves you.
I think Annette's supposed to ring her. Yeah. Hopefully she's feeling okay. She has good days, bad days. One of those days. Hey, Sarah. How are you doing? I'm doing fine. Are you doing okay? Good, good. I'm still working. I got 15 months.
She's counting, yeah.
Yep, today.
So that would be May of next year.
Yeah, May of next year. Hang in there. 15 months and I get back home. Yeah, getting a little home. My little house over there, so my family's over there. I don't have anyone here, so. Yeah, all my family. Homer. Yeah, Southwest part. Yeah, about 2 hours. No, she's here. Annette's supposed to bring her today, but it depends on what she feels about it. Good days and bad days. Yeah, she's over here. She's over off of Union, over in Lakewood. She's been about maybe 3 months away from where we stay. Yeah, she's in like the assisted living. Yeah. What's your name? Marty. You know, Alameda Parkway in that area. So she said she went to the doctor and found out all this. Before he died, yeah, she does all she's
Yeah.